individual working in financial services and areas that paid very well. And it was very hard to repatriate these individuals back into the region. Combined with the fact that they're much more mobile in terms of, we touched on the visa issues earlier across the region, we're probably paying a 20-30% premium to get GCC nationals into senior positions.
What is the obligation of that in terms of the law, i.e. the amortization or Saudiization, etc., versus the talent, if you like, on its own merits?
Well, you're finding situations where you have individuals. If I take it back a stage, with GCC nationals, one of the key things with any business is to leave a long-term legacy and make a demonstrable difference in a business. When we have Westerners coming on 3-year visas and having to churn, probably on average, people are churning every 4 to 5 years. On average, a lot of people are long-term expats here. It's much easier, much more cost-efficient sometimes to have somebody who's here and has a long-term. In terms of the legal elements of, you're talking about having a non-compete in terms of your visa and being able to release, take another job. It is an issue, especially in Saudi Arabia, as you probably know.
But also the point of the amortization program, where the local talent is much sought after. You were saying, I'm just wondering, is there a sense of where those two meet in terms of the fact that there is a legal obligation now to have a certain quota versus seeking that talent for other reasons, and where those two meet?
Well, it's a tough one because you know you will find sometimes that that there'll be people will be put in roles that they perhaps are not qualified for at times, and that does happen. What it does mean in terms of the expat situation, you do have shadowing, and you sometimes end up with 2 or 3 people doing a role.
Rabia?
If I may speak to the mobility issue regarding GCC nationals, and there's as Sean just mentioned, I came back from the States yesterday night, and I have a very close friend who's a Saudi national who studied her undergraduate degree at Wellesley, which is one of the top women universities in the US, did her master's at Stanford, and did her PhD at Columbia, and is a professor in the United States, and is immensely qualified, applied to be a professor at a GCC university outside of Saudi Arabia. I won't mention which country. Her application was received wonderfully, so the university took a look at it and said, wow, this person is phenomenal, and their next question was, where is she from? And when they learned that she was a GCC national from another GCC country, they immediately rejected it and said, oh, I wish she were American. And so there's, I think within each country, the GCC nationals of that country are immensely in demand. Unfortunately, the mobility is not that great. There isn't that much cross-border demand. And it's unfortunate, particularly when there is that type of caliber that exists within the GCC, and that needs to have a regional opportunity in order to fulfill their potential.
I'm interested, Rabia, on bait.com website. Can you track how much of your visitors' traffic are from Gulf nationals, and is it of any scale?
We do track, and it varies from country to country. So, for example, in Saudi Arabia, our most significant traffic is actually from Saudi nationals. And that's because there's a very significant Saudi population who is looking to work, and the laws within Saudi Arabia encourage that significantly. That's far less true, for example, in Qatar, where there's a very small local population, and they're not that actively pursuing private sector jobs because the government is able to actually employ the vast majority of them. So it's variable from country to country.
We have a question on table number 3, please.
Thank you very much. Coming back to the point of the variable packages, my question is, don't you think it would be a good idea to customize the packages according to the demographics of the region, especially considering the age factors, like the gentleman in the center mentioned, the club packages. And the questionnaire we looked at critical illnesses. I mean, considering the demographics of UAE, we are relatively in the middle age, so maybe most of the age or the people working over here are not much older. For example, they would be able to enjoy more medical benefits related to that age or that demographic than of the critical illnesses. Yeah.
So what's you asked the question with the sense of an opinion that expat packages should be customized in a different way than they're currently doing so. Is that your view?
For instance, like for me, I don't know, thanks to God, I don't.
You don't want critical illness?
Yeah, so far, no. Maybe someone at the later age is looking at the retirement packages. But for me, at this age, I don't think I would be working with this current organization all the way along till I get retired because of the permanent residence that gentleman over here mentioned.
Customized package, Callum?
Well, I think it's an interesting point. If you look at economies like North America and Europe, particularly the UK, then flexible or cafeteria-style benefits have become reasonably common in the last 10 years. There's both a soft driver for that as well as a hard driver. The soft driver is the types of issues that you've mentioned. You have a more diverse working population with different expectations and needs. You also have a diverse population in terms of age profile, and different ages value different types of benefits, be they life assurance or cash in their pocket in different ways. The hard driver has been the fact that those types of benefits, flexible benefits programs, can bring with them certain tax advantages in other markets. Flexible benefits haven't really developed to a great extent here because there's no tax advantage to them. However, we have been speaking to a number of organizations recently that are interested in implementing flexible or cafeteria-style benefits and allowances for exactly the types of reasons that you've mentioned. So I do see in the future perhaps a gradual trend towards that type of structure.
Anthony, we were talking the other day about in terms of customizing packages for the age bracket or the profile that is here in relevance to the housing allowance you were talking about is essentially dead money at an age in your life when you would be usually investing that kind of capital into a property and as a long-term investment vehicle. Is there ways, do you think, to, as the gentleman suggests, to customize around something like that?
There may be, but if we look at what's happening in the region, there's much more internationalization here. Companies are not really seeing the Middle East as a hardship post anymore. So when you have a business and you're looking at how you're going to manage your bottom line and accrue for capital costs, the whole package, it has to be in line with other businesses, and I think that the Middle East, it has to really fit in with a lot of our clients into a global package. But I take your point in terms of housing and the fact that it is dead money. A lot of people we talked about tax earlier. There is no tax system here, but if we all know the size of our DIY bills and the price we pay to rent a house, which is essentially dead money, there probably needs to be some sort of redress in terms of how that works.
In that flexibility, how would you see that? There has been moves. I've certainly know of some people during the boom years who got their housing allowance and were permitted to put it towards buying a property. I'm not sure if that trend is continuing.
Once again,